mentorship student got $14,442 in cleanup profit from people who told him no less than 6 months ago. So my name is Bryce, and I am in my like hoodie kind of attire. I just came back from doing a hour-long walk outside. One thing I'm really working on this year is being really healthy because I've noticed from a lot of different bigger entrepreneurs, the better your health is, the easier it is for you to find like more and more success inside of your business. And on top of that, who doesn't love feeling like really great? So I was watching and like listening to one of my students on like our coaching calls. Sometimes for like the coaching calls, I'll rewatch them and kind of like see what was said, what were some of the results, and how are some of the students growing, right? Because I'm always trying to improve our mentorship program to make sure that like we're constantly improving, we're constantly learning, we're constantly trying to learn new angles of getting accounting clients, growing accounting and bookkeeping businesses so that we can keep providing better results for our different students. So today I kind of want to dive into one of the things that I watched from one of our students. So, number one, to go and get this thing like it's some engagement. So if you watch this thing live, go ahead and type in hashtag team live to know that you're with me. I'll make it more interactive. I'll ask some questions. I'll answer some things you have. Write down team replay if you watch this thing on the replay so I know that you're watching it as well. Right now, why am I asking you to do that? I'm asking you to type these different hashtags because I want the video to be seen by more people. Very simple. If when you start learning about content on social media, you're going to know the biggest indicator of content being spread out to more people is how much interaction you get. So how many likes you get, shares, comments, people typing into the chat box, people staying, right, will cause to be shown to more and more and more and more people. KR said, love the stream. Thanks, KR. Good to see you. She's watching on YouTube. This person's watching on YouTube, so this is great. Now, so number one, okay, this one is more based on like sales, right? So sales and marketing can be very, very simplified when you start getting better. Now, one thing that a lot of people struggle with is that they don't understand that sales at the beginning, like when you're below six figures in your business, sales is literally just about creating relationships with business owners who can potentially work with you. It's not about getting the sale in the beginning. So a lot of people I just want to get my first client within 30 days. And if I don't get it within 30 days, I'm just not going to be able to make this business work. And a lot of people who kind of go at that with that intensity, they're very disappointed versus people who really focus on the right things and building the right relationships end up making six figures a lot faster than what they ever hoped and what they ever expected. Also, maybe you've been trying to grow your business for a little while, but it's just not quite going the way that you want. Go ahead and click the link inside the description, either above or below the video. Book a call with myself or a member of my team to see if I can help you inside of our mentorship program. Okay, all the stuff we talk about these videos on either Facebook or YouTube are stuff that we cover inside of our mentorship program. Like I only talk about stuff that I've done or stuff that I've like have experience with. I generally don't say stuff that either I don't have experience with or stuff that I will not be able to help you out with. So number one, when it comes to sales, okay, relationships. Relationships are the things that are going to turn into money because all it really takes to go into clients, and let's say that your goal is to get like, we'll say it's six figures. Let's say your goal is to get to like 10K per month. That's a nice like round number, and it should be a pretty comfortable number for a lot of individuals. So 10K, let's say your minimum price point is $500 per month. That means you need 20 people in total to say yes to you in order to be at that 10K per month recurring. Okay. So the thing that makes that easy is if your goal is just to have a really good conversation and to understand the pain points of about 100 to 200 business owners. Okay. Now, Bryce, why? So, are you saying, Bryce, if I just get 200 business owners on my Facebook profile, I'm going to have 20 clients? No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying you need to have relationships with those. Generally, relationships are going to be built on like phones or Zoom calls, right? It's when they can understand you, they can understand your background, understand like how can you help them out, and like you make a customized presentation about how you're going to specifically help them get from where they are now to where they want to go. And if you do that to be honest with you, 200 is really an overstatement. Like you're not going to need to do 200 consultation calls in order to get 20 clients. It's just, again, whenever you're shooting for a target, you need to have KPIs that are larger than what you actually need because it gives you enough energy to attack the process correctly so that when you're actually going through the motions, you're doing very, very quality motions. Oftentimes, what people do is like, and this is something I learned when I was in martial arts. So I don't know if you guys, if all of you guys know this, but I have multiple black belts in like different kind of arts, right? So like Taekwondo, Hapkido, which is a Korean art, um, black belt and sword as well. So it's been a long time since I've used a sword, so don't ask me to be like show you like some sword forms and stuff. It's been a long time, but at one point in my life, I was really into that stuff. Now, when it came to testing, right, and some of you guys might have children learning karate, right? Let's say there's like these markers are a board, like a wooden board. Most people have to break the board to kind of get out of their next belt or at everyone they're testing. Now, most people, if they've never broken a board before, they think it's going to be very easy, right? And in some cases are like there's exceptions to every rule, but a lot of times what happens is someone who's untrained goes, they just go and they stop at the board, right? Because they think, oh, it's easy, I don't have to put that much force, and they stop right here at the board, and the board doesn't break, and they hurt their hand. Now it's worse when you do bricks. Okay, I've broken bricks before. I think I broke it was either 8 or 9 when I got my black belt. It was either 8 or 9 bricks, and they were wet. Okay, the bricks were wet. So imagine like there's a brick. There was water. There was like watermarks. My instructor actually like I think he left it like in his truck or something. It was something crazy. So it was actually harder to break those, right? If you ever have to break through like a piece of wood or a brick, you want it to be dry. Okay, else it just does not break because it's like I don't know if it's like the water absorbs the impact of your strikes, but it doesn't work. Okay, from experience, it takes a lot more. Like some people that break the brick in like one strike. I literally had to do like one strike per brick. It was so annoying. It was so bad. Now 5 years just to struggle on 9 bricks. But it's a but then the people who actually break the bricks are the ones that know they have to punch through it. You have to punch through your target in order to actually go and get it, and it becomes much easier. So the people who underestimated how much force it takes to break through the I underestimated that. Who underestimate how much force it takes to break through the wood end up struggling. Versus the people that assume it's hard and end up punching through what they think they need, go and find that success. That's why I give you these targets of like, we'll say 200 business to get on a consultation call. When you've done 20 to 30 calls, you would have already had your 10 to 20 clients and been at a really sustainable goal. That's like what most people's income goal is. So that's number one. Okay. Number two is, and also if you understand principle one of you have to do more work in your mind in order to go and hit realistic goals, put a one downside of the comment, like put a one if you understand that principle, so I can move on to it. Sometimes I feel like I say the same thing a number of times. So I want to make sure like if it's clear, then it's great. If it's not clear, I can always go back and like explain it a little bit differently. Because everyone's slightly different. How people interpret information sometimes is a little bit different. So that's number one. Okay, I see KR put a one down, so she understands. He or she understands it. KR, what's your first name, KR? I keep saying either she or he or she. I don't want to offend you if you're watching this thing, so I'm trying to make sure I know exactly what it is. Also, getting a call. Now, the next thing is every single time you have a consultation call or a prospective client who's interested in working with you, you need. Oh, hey, Kevin. Nice to see you, Kevin. Now, you need to put those calls and leads. So it's not just people who you spoke to on the phone, but anyone that says they're interested. So if you're on like LinkedIn and someone says like they're interested in learning about your service, or if you're in the grocery store and someone says they're interested in learning about your service, or someone gives you a business card to call them back, put that on your spreadsheet. Okay. A lot of the leads, like we talked about in the video title, we got $14,000 came from people who either told them no or didn't show up for the call or said no, his price is too high. But if you don't have that on like a spreadsheet, you don't know how many calls there were. That the first thing I told him when we started working together was, hey, do you have a list of all the people you've ever done a consultation call with? And he said, no. I said, do you have a calendar? He says, yes. And I said, is your calendar through Google, right? And he said, yes, it was. So he actually had the appointments, all the different people. So I told him, go put it on like a spreadsheet and do it. He did that. And then I gave him some other instructions, like how to follow up with those leads. We'll talk about that in a minute. But first things first, spreadsheet of every single lead. You'd be so surprised. A number of my students, like especially if someone's already at like 3 to 5 grand per month, data is going to be super important for you to be able to grow your business to the point that you want to go to. I asked a student who was at about 5 grand a month. She wanted to go to about 10 grand a month. And, we were kind of anticipating it would probably take her like 2 to 3 months to do that. The first thing I asked her was, don't, this might be a big assumption, but, all the calls that either didn't say yes or you've done, like, do you have them someplace where you can access them? And she goes, yeah, that would be a big assumption. And I was like, okay, so that's the first area we always go through. Okay. It's easier to get someone who was interested in your service and was like a maybe or a yes to convert than to try and like get a new conversation started. What I mean by that is if someone took the time to tell you on Facebook that they're looking for accounting help, then they spend an hour with you on a consultation call. They basically say they want to go with you, but the price is just slightly more than what they want to pay. That person is 100 times easier to close and to sign up for working with you than someone who you just met and you have to take them through that whole process again. And the reason why is because as soon as someone tells you no, if they're in market for that service, if they keep doing more and more consultation calls with other accountants and other bookkeepers, they're going to see that the prices that you are giving to them is pretty comparable or competitive with the overall market. So the only differentiating factor is going to be who do they either trust more, who do they like more. So if you only have one conversation and you never follow back up with that person, um, you're going to struggle. So a good example is I was talking to my mom and my mom and my dad, they're trying to buy a roof for their house, right? And the salesperson that came, my mom is really hard to sell. She's really hard to sell. She's probably about a 6 out of 10 in terms of sales skills, but terribly hard to sell because she's heard all the different sales training I've had to give to like different coaches and different things like that. So, but she immediately told the person about 40 minutes into his presentation, like, hey, I'm not going to be able to buy from you today. My mom's retired, so disposable income, don't have a huge amount of like disposable income to spend like $30,000 on like new windows, right? So the guy basically he didn't do two things. Number one, he didn't follow up because like she was ready to go. She just needed to literally think about it for like a day or whatever, just to kind of think about it over. And she said, if he would have called me back, I probably would have asked for a certain discount and then we could have gotten started. But he never called me back. He never texted, never called, never emailed, nothing. He just never reached back out to me. And it's like, number one, if you're on a consultation call and someone says that they're not quite ready, always try and schedule a follow-up call with them, okay? Let them have time to digest the information and then at least give yourself another chance to have them work with you. Don't just cut the sale off completely. And then if maybe they don't want to do a follow-up call or if maybe it's outside the time frame that they want to do a follow-up call, you need to be messaging people at least like at least once every 30 days. I would ideally do it once every 15 if you can stay in front of them if you can kind of keep that working. 15 days, that is a slightly more advanced thing because you do have to like know what to say for each of those 15 days, right? So like 30 days is probably like a really beginner friendly kind of average. And like the less leads you have, the more you want to follow up. Because again, it's easier for someone who is like maybe is on the fence to tip over that fence and is to kind of create all the momentum. And who's to say that you even have that many consultation calls on your calendar? If you only have 5 consultation calls over the year, like you better be following up with them as much as possible. Like these leads are so precious to you. Like when you have like thousands of people, it's like yeah, you can be a little bit more relaxed. Like for me, for example, I am a little bit more relaxed, right? I'm not following up with people like every 15 days. I kind of am because I have like my YouTube videos. I have like my team messages people. I have an email sequence, so I technically am. But like if you don't have that stuff, like you need to be attacking. Like in order for you to get to the point of where someone who's at 6 figures is, you have to work 2 to 3 times as hard as what they do. So some people say, well, Bryce, like, do you follow people every 15 days? It's like, I technically follow up with people every probably every 3 days, if I'm honest with you, because it's like, but I do it indirectly because I have videos, I have LinkedIn posts, I have emails that go out. People check my LinkedIn every single day. I have like a VA team that messages people in my CRM and like texts people in my CRM. So it's like technically yes, but it's like I'm doing it to a slightly different degree than what other people might be doing. Like if you don't have that, like if you don't have an email sequence, if you don't have a virtual assistant to follow the people, if you're not making videos, and I'm not saying you have to make videos, just I like making videos, yeah, you're going to have to follow up every 15 days, right? So it's like, just, but in order for you to be able to get to where I am, you have to, number one, work harder than what I have worked, and you have to do even more. So like you have to work twice as hard as I work, and then even add like an extra degree of difficulty, so 3 times. Because I'm assuming that if you haven't done a lot of work in this area, you might not have the skill sets to make things easier. Like I can shortcut. I have a person who basically books calls for one of my social media profiles, and he was trying to take shortcuts. So basically, it's like we would have a conversation, and he would try and book a person like in a very short number of messages before actually qualifying the person. And he kept saying, I think this person's going to buy. I think this person's going to go. I'm like, well, you haven't done enough repetitions to know that for certain. You don't know the demographic. You don't know the problems they're going through. You don't really know the situation the person's at. So it's like you haven't really earned the right to kind of take those shortcuts. So but that's how most people kind of run their business. It's like I'm not saying that you have to work a million hours a week, but it's like don't take shortcuts when you're trying to grow your business. Like put in the work, do things correctly, and then just follow up with your leads. If you follow up with your leads, you do a really good job presenting your value. If they're on the fence, if you keep going back and back and back to them, they will eventually go and buy from you. And never discount someone, even if someone tells you like they're not interested in working with you. Like that's not always the case. They might just not be interested in working with you today, but if they've taken the time to get on the call with you, like they are interested to a degree. Okay. So your job is just to be in their face. And rather than thinking about closing them or convincing them or converting them as a client, instead think about how can you just build a relationship. Like if the people just if you have this cadence of every 14th of the month, you say, hey, and the person says, how's it going? And then 15 days later, you say, hey, have you seen this new thing that we talked about in our consultation call? And the person says, no, I haven't. Please send it my way, and the person is cordially like coming and talking back and forth to you, there is no way you don't close that client over the next, we'll say, between like 6 months to 2 years. Like there's no way it doesn't happen. Because even if they hire somebody else, that person is not going to like them as much. As soon as something goes wrong, they're going to be coming to you because you're the person they actually like and they trust and they ask advice from, right? So that's all you're thinking about doing. If you just do it with a large enough net over a good period of time, you're going to be able to get a percentage of those people to go, even if they said no in the past. But maybe it was just a maybe. Maybe it's just not right now. So just have faith, stay consistent, get good at sales, get good at following up, put all your leads on a spreadsheet, or if you have a CRM, like you can. CRMs have costs. That's a customer relationship manager. It's just basically like a database that holds contact information of the people you're talking to. But a spreadsheet will do. Like that's free, right? Just go on Google Sheets, you type in the name, you type in a couple columns, and then you just keep following up with those people. And if you do that over a consistent enough time and you know what to say, you're going to be able to get clients very consistently. Okay, so that's how the student did. That's what I observed from listening to them, to going through his conversations we had together and our coaching calls. So hopefully you enjoy this video. Hopefully you learned something new. Let me know if you want some help. Go ahead and click the link inside the description either above or below the video. Book a call with myself or a member of my team to see if we can help you inside of our mentorship program. Okay, it's not for everybody. I'm just like prefacing that out. It's like, if you're serious about hitting your goal and you really have like a reason why you're trying to do this, like maybe you want to be able to leave your job so that you can provide for your family. Maybe you want to be able to control your time. If those are some things you actually want, like go ahead and click the link, book the call. I'd love to see if you're a good fit. Okay. I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great rest of your day. Take it easy. Talk to you soon.